Networking isn't about you. Hey, I'm Donnie Bovian, the CEO and founder of Success Champion Networking and author of the new book, Fuck to Focus. This is Growth Mode, a podcast all about growing and scaling your business. Hanging out with me, as always, is Kevin Snow, the sales automation tactician and genius. And in this episode, we're going to talk about specifically how networking has nothing to do with you. I know for me, really early in the sales game, as I was learning networking and first attending meetings. If you haven't ever heard my first networking story, you should go back and listen to a few episodes of me talking about how I found networking. I thought my first meeting was basically a business AA meeting, but for you know as I learned to network, I really thought that the more I impressed the person that I was talking to, the more they would be intro- interested in introducing me or making referrals for me. And I got really good at telling these elaborate stories about my journey and who I was and all the things I'd done and accomplished. And I could get to a point where people were like, "Holy shit, you've done a lot for a young guy." And truth be told, I had, but I was doing it through the wow pizzazz maneuver because I really thought that if they liked me, if they really thought that I was something, that they would be more apt to open doors. And what I realized very, very, very quickly, that the more that I made it about myself, that the less referrals, the less introductions I got, and the less people wanted to introduce me. And I even had one person tell me that Donnie, I can't introduce you because I don't think my clientele is the caliber of business you need to be working with, which was always fascinating for me. So if you're going into networking and you're making it all about you, all you're doing is making yourself non-referable. Over to you, Kevin.
So I think a lot of the me mentality in networking actually comes from the sales side of business, especially the corporate employed sales people who are quota driven,
Yeah.
where they go into networking events and networking opportunities. And for them, this is a prospecting opportunity. This is a prospecting tool. So they are ultra focused on, those keywords and key things people are going to say that make them think, oh, this is someone I need to sell to. So they are out there trying to position themselves, their product, their company, and get people to make comments like, all right, sweet, we need to meet. And that is their whole purpose for networking. Business owners, I think, do it differently because they're going in for the most part. There are some that business owners I know that don't do it this way, but for the most part, I think a lot of business owners are going in and they're having different types of conversations. They're trying to actually find the other business owners that they can have cool conversations with that are going to lead to something. And they're looking much bigger, much longer term for what they're trying to get out of those networking opportunities.
Yeah, I would agree that the quotas cause it a lot, but I would disagree that a lot of business owners, go into it because they're trying to meet other business owners. I think most people are doing networking because they're fucking desperate in general. And I think because most people find networking because they don't know how to sell, it puts them in an act of desperation, which forces them to really try and highlight them and their businesses because they don't know how to get business otherwise. And I think most people who have grown beyond the "it's all about me," I think that's a learned behavior and not something that people do naturally because they're so desperate for any sort of business coming in that only thing they know is what they've seen in movies or they've seen, in some really bad sales training that's out there, or they've watched a couple of really shitty videos. So they're desperate in nature to get deals done. And by God, people got to know about your product and services to get deals done. So I think that's what fucks a lot of people when it comes to networking in general, is that they legitimately don't understand the idea of getting to know other people. Um,
Well, it's a learned skill.
right.
You know, even the most outgoing people aren't good at the relationship building right away. You know, they're going to screw it up, and they're going to do things that they think was right, and it's not moving the relationship forward. And so you have to learn how to do it. You know, it's just like anything in life, whether it's dating, sports, or whatever. You have to learn the process, and you have to learn the steps and how to do it effectively, or you're never going to be successful at it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely 100% agree with that, because you look at networking as a skill set, and without looking at it as a skill set, there's no way to improve it. But I mean, the best of the best salespeople in the world, business owners, everything, they're constantly studying, the art, the science, behind how to do the thing, and they're constantly trying new things. But I think what hurts a lot of people from a networking perspective is that they're only networking. They're not doing all the other activities outside of networking that they should be to build a business. So they're constantly in a more desperation move, because they're not focusing on building the skill sets that they need, because they're not doing things outside of networking to make it a legitimate behavior or skill set for them. And I think that's what's costing a lot of people. I mean, and even networking as it was taught over the years was, okay, go do what's called a one-on-one, and freaking, okay, you get a half hour at a time, you get a half hour at a time. And it's a bullshit freaking way to look at networking in general, because it's this expectation that you should do something for me because I did something for you. And it's just,
Yep.
it's not the way networking should be. And look, I'm a firm believer that the more that you can open doors for others, the more life gets good. And the only way you can open doors for others is if your ass is out there growing your business and bringing back that business to your network, and then finding people to surround yourself that understand that same philosophy. It's getting out of desperation.
Yeah, it's the focus has to be on the person who's in front of you. And it's always kind of fun when I'm meeting with someone that I know understands the whole concept. The that virtual coffee now almost becomes a competition on who's going to get the other person to talk, because everyone's trying to deflect the conversation back to the other person. So they're almost, when you're at that point, there has to be some sort of plan of how you're going to do it, so that you both, otherwise no one's actually going to get to share anything, because you're going to answer a question, you're going to throw it right back to the other person and try and get the spotlight back on them, because you want to know about them and how you can help them. But that's the key for, if you're in a network. When I go to live events and I'm meeting a bunch of people, I'm trying to get as much information about them in the few minutes I have in front of them that I can, and to be really make them the focus. I understand, hey, here's what I can do for you, here's what I'm going to follow up with you about, so I can help you.
Yeah.
And and that's the key. Whereas a lot of people are just trying to pitch,
Yeah,
and it's
agreed.
literally not having that open-ended conversation. It's literally them jumping into their 60-second sales pitch and their elevator speech.
Yeah, well said. And I find for myself that the more I continue to push the envelope of how can I get this person introduced to the right person, that it makes it easier for them to open doors for me as well. And what I mean is, when I'm sitting across from somebody, my entire thought process is, who do they need to meet? Who do they need to meet? Because I can give a shit about referrals. We're going to do an upcoming episode talking about why introductions are way better than referrals. But for me, it's really about so being so laser focused on getting them who they need to get to, that you're teaching them how to get them to introduce you to other people. It's a really cool thing to watch. I did this last week, where I sat across from a couple of gals that run a very, very, very cool business. And in a matter of moments, I was able to, jump on LinkedIn, make 4 or 5 introductions for them. And because I maneuvered so quickly to get them introduced to people, they went, crap, hold on. And they started making introductions for me as well. And it was just showing the speed of pouring into other people and how people are naturally then want to be around people that get it, are amped up and want to run to be able to open up those doors. And that's been a fun experience to really push that level of networking, because you don't see it traditionally, because there's always a process of, okay, you've got to blah 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 blah. Nah, it's really simple. You just got to freaking understanding specifically who they need to get to. Like, for me, and we'll need to talk a little bit about trigger words, Kevin, but for me, I just need to know that who can I get them to that will open up a new avenue, a new place, a new trigger, a new area of people for them so they can grow. And it does a cool thing for me every time I do that. It keeps me top of mind, which is awesome. But it also puts some good freaking juju out in the damn universe, which I always love. But most people, because they're so desperation minded, that and they're so programmed that they are supposed to get referrals, and to give somebody referral, man, there's a lot of fucking work. There's a lot of things that go into actually giving a true referral. So if you can focus on that person and get them to the people they need to get to, you're going to be blown away at the speed at which your network grows and the speed at which your business catches up and follows with it as well.
Yeah, so that next episode is going to be interesting because I think you and I have a little different view and on what our definitions are for referrals and introductions. So that I think that's going to be a really exciting conversation. But you're right. When I'm meeting with someone in a virtual coffee, or I'm met them at a event and we're chatting, I'm trying to figure out who I know that is a referral partner for them, and because those are always the easiest people to make those introductions to. Doing the referral that's all client and transaction based is much harder because you have to have had a conversation with that person beforehand and really understand what's going on in their world before you can introduce them to this new person. So it is a longer play. But those referrals to people that can make more introductions, the goose that laid the golden egg, so to speak, are key people that you want to be getting those people in front of. I totally agree.
Well, and then I think that's where we're going to have the fun conversation next, because that's not a referral, that's an introduction. But we'll define that in the next episode. But the funny thing about all of this, I mean, really the key point of this whole episode is stop worrying so much about convincing the other person that you're worthy, or that you're the guy or the gal, or that you have the best whatever in the marketplace. And flip the script to make it all about them. And look, Kevin and I say this, and then people get in these conversations, these one-on-ones, and then people are like, well, don't worry about me, let's talk and focus about you. Don't be fucking idiots about this either, right? Go sit down with each other, and if you both understand that you're supposed to be pouring into each other and opening doors for each other's, making introductions, then fucking take a moment and go, okay, cool, let's walk through it. Let's get very specific about, okay, who do you need to meet? Who can I specifically introduce you to? And then make the introductions right then and there. Don't play the game of, oh, I can't talk about me at all because it's supposed to be about you. That shit's just dumb. But you know, uh, pour into people. And as Kevin was alluding to earlier, or he wasn't alluding, he's actually saying, at events and shit, freaking go spend time focusing on who they are. People always get hung up on how they say what they do. And truthfully, if you can't say what you do in less than fucking 5 words, then you probably don't know what the fuck you actually do. So it's more important to be able to understand who they need to meet and get them there.
Yeah, and I will normally lead out that conversation, when we're in person. Obviously, the first thing is, "Hey, who are you? My name is, I'm with so and so, blah, blah, blah." My first question is always, "Cool, who are you looking to
Yeah,
meet here?"
it's a great question.
Because now they're going to start telling me stuff, and now I can ask, "Oh, cool, why?" And now I can get them talking and digging deeper and stuff. And it's not something they probably talked about. Most people, that isn't the question that you lead with. So it's a cool way to get people to start giving answers that they haven't had to give before. And it's all answers that's going to help you figure things out about who they actually need to be in front of, and about what they do, because that why is going to have a lot of that involved with it.
Yeah, the only tweak I'd have on that is you can get one little bit more specific is who specifically at this event did you come to meet? And sometimes, you're gonna find that the upper tier networkers will be like, "Oh, dude, I was trying to meet John Smith, who was the CEO of XYZ company," right? Those are the people that are actually coming to the event to fucking really network. The people that are coming because it's like a happy hour type setup or something, you're like, "Oh, I don't know, just anybody in the room." And the people that you find that are very, very specific, man, if you can get them straight to that person, you become a freaking lifeline for them. You become a huge asset because you were able to bridge the gap between who they were trying to meet and, at the event. And if somebody comes and halls and said, "I don't really know," take 2 seconds and gently grill them on, "All right, cool. What's the best client for you? If everything was a perfect world, what kind of industry or person or company or whatnot would be that industry that would be great to do business with, or would be a hell of a synergy partner for you to be able to open up a lot of doors?" And then literally look at them and say, "Cool, let's go meet some people and see if you can get them there." you know
Yep.
so, but quick episode, on all this. But I really think the bottom line, man, is quit trying to convince people that you're the person. That quit trying to, be in the limelight. Quit trying to do anything to get perspective on you and flip it all over to them and freaking get to know them, pour into them, figure out who they need to get to, and you're going to be blown away about the level of conversations you have and the conversations you're able to get into. So, as always, guys, if you got any tips, tricks anything out of this episode, make sure you're subscribed, leave us a review, and tell one person about this episode. It means the absolute world to us. Love you, mean it. See you, bye.